What if the stars you thought you knew had once lived a completely different life? From Olympic champions to Hollywood trailblazers, these 10 transgender celebrities underwent remarkable personal transformations that changed how the world saw them. We'll reveal their journeys, the struggles behind the spotlight, and the moments they finally embraced who they were, and the last story may surprise you. Chaz Bono. Chaz Bono has lived a remarkable journey in the public eye. Born Chastity Bono in 1969 to legendary entertainers Sonny Bono and Cher Chaz, grew up surrounded by fame. But behind the spotlight, he spent years struggling with a deep sense that the identity expected of him did not reflect who he truly was. As he entered adulthood, that feeling became increasingly difficult to ignore. Coming to terms with his gender identity was a deeply personal process made even more complicated by growing up as the child of two famous performers. In 2009, Chaz publicly announced that he was transitioning and began hormone therapy. He later underwent gender-affirming surgery and legally changed his name to Chaz Bono in 2010. At around 40 years old, he was finally able to embrace the identity he had long known was his own. Chaz went on to become an advocate for transgender rights and appeared in television and film projects, including The Secret Life of the American Teenager and American Horror Story. His visibility helped bring greater awareness to transgender experiences among mainstream audiences. He also became an author, sharing his experiences in books that offered readers a more personal look at the challenges of growing up, finding identity, and living honestly in the public eye. Cher has also spoken openly about her journey of understanding and supporting her son. She acknowledged that adapting to new pronouns took time, but her love and pride for Chaz never changed, for both mother and son. The journey became a powerful story of acceptance, courage, and family. Andrea Page. Andrea Page's journey is one of courage, self-discovery, and transformation. Before becoming one of fashion's most recognized transgender models, she first gained attention as Andrea Page, an androgynous male model who challenged traditional ideas of gender on the runway. Her striking features allowed her to model both men's and women's clothing, quickly making her a favorite among designers and photographers. Born in Bosnia and raised in Australia, Page grew up feeling that something about her identity did not fit the expectations placed on her. As a child, experimenting with makeup and trying on clothes from her mother's closet gave her a sense of comfort. Fashion eventually became a place where she could express the part of herself that she struggled to explain. By 2014, Page publicly came out as transgender and began living openly as a woman. The decision was deeply personal and came with professional uncertainty, but the fashion industry continued to embrace her. She went on to become a trailblazer, appearing on major magazine covers and gaining international recognition. In 2016, she became the first openly transgender woman to be featured on the cover of GQ Portugal. Today, Andrea Page is remembered not simply for her appearance, but for helping expand the possibilities of representation in fashion. Her story reminds us that sometimes the greatest transformation is not becoming someone new. It is finally having the courage to live as the person you have always known yourself to be. Her journey also opened doors for others who once felt they had no place in the fashion world, proving that authenticity can become a powerful source of confidence and strength. Caitlyn Jenner. Caitlyn Jenner's journey from Bruce Jenner to Caitlyn remains one of the most widely recognized and discussed stories of gender transition in modern popular culture. Before becoming Caitlyn, Bruce Jenner was an American athletic hero. In 1976, Bruce won the Olympic gold medal in the decathlon at the Montreal Games, setting a world record and becoming one of the most celebrated athletes of the era. Yet behind that extraordinary achievement was a deeply private struggle with gender identity that had existed since childhood. Bruce later recalled experimenting with his mother's and sister's clothing when young, feelings he kept largely hidden at a time when discussions about gender identity were far less common. Sports became a major focus of Bruce's life, but athletic success could not completely resolve those private feelings. Over the years, Bruce married 3 times, including Linda Thompson and Kris Jenner. During his marriage to Kris, Bruce discussed some aspects of his gender identity and hormone use, although Kris later said she did not fully understand the extent of the struggle at the time. Together, they raised a large blended family and became central figures on Keeping Up with the Kardashians. In 2015, at age 65, Caitlyn publicly introduced herself to the world. Her Vanity Fair cover, famously titled "Call Me Caitlyn," became a major cultural moment and brought unprecedented mainstream attention to transgender visibility. Whatever one thinks of Caitlyn Jenner's public life, her transition marked a significant chapter in modern celebrity history and showed that even after decades in the public eye, a person can still choose to live more honestly and authentically. Laverne Cox. Laverne Cox is widely recognized as one of the most influential transgender figures in modern entertainment. She rose to international fame as Sophia Bursette on Orange is the New Black, portraying a transgender woman navigating life in a women's prison. But long before that breakthrough, Cox's path was shaped by hardship, determination, and a lifelong search for self-acceptance. Born in Mobile, Alabama, Cox understood from a young age that she did not fit the expectations others placed on her. She faced bullying and ridicule for expressing herself in feminine ways. Dance became one of her earliest passions. She studied tap and jazz and eventually pursued ballet as well, despite her mother initially worrying that it was too ladylike. For Cox, dancing offered a place where she could express herself freely. Growing up in a deeply religious environment also created an emotional struggle. Cox has spoken openly about experiencing depression and as a child attempting suicide. She survived and later described that period as a painful but important part of understanding her life and identity. After moving to New York, Cox increasingly embraced her identity and began living openly as a woman. Her breakthrough came with Orange is the New Black, where her performance brought a transgender character into millions of American homes with humanity and dignity. Her success extended far beyond acting. Cox became a prominent advocate for transgender visibility, equality, and inclusion, using her platform to challenge stereotypes and encourage greater understanding. For many Americans, Laverne Cox represents more than a television star. Her story is a reminder that even after years of rejection and struggle, finding the courage to live authentically can open the door to an entirely new chapter. Fallon Fox. Fallon Fox's story is about much more than competing inside an MMA cage. As one of the first openly transgender athletes in professional mixed martial arts, she became a highly visible figure in the ongoing conversation about transgender participation in sports. Born in Toledo, Ohio, Fox has spoken about feeling different from other boys from an early age and feeling more comfortable expressing herself in feminine ways. Her path toward understanding her identity was difficult, especially because transgender issues were far less understood when she was growing up. She's also spoken publicly about experiencing rejection from family members and undergoing conversion therapy, an experience she later described as harmful. As an adult, Fox began her transition and eventually pursued her passion for mixed martial arts. In 2012, she publicly came out as transgender and continued competing professionally. Her career soon attracted widespread attention, making her a groundbreaking figure in combat sports. Her participation also sparked intense debate. Critics questioned whether transgender women should compete in women's divisions and raised concerns about physical advantages. Supporters, meanwhile, argued that transgender athletes deserve the opportunity to compete under fair and appropriate rules. Fox became one of the most recognizable voices in that discussion, facing criticism while continuing to defend her place in the sport. Her story reflects the complicated reality of being a pioneer. Breaking new ground can bring both admiration and controversy. Whatever people may think about the broader debate surrounding transgender athletes, Fallon Fox's determination is undeniable. She built a career in a demanding sport and used her visibility to challenge prejudice, advocate for transgender inclusion, and encourage others to live openly and confidently. Jazz Jennings. Jazz Jennings became one of the most recognizable transgender young people in America, particularly for speaking openly about the challenges of growing up transgender. Her story began attracting national attention when she was still a child, helping many families better understand gender identity and the experiences of transgender youth. Chaz was born in South Florida in 2000 and was assigned male at birth. From a very young age, she consistently identified and lived as a girl. In 2007, at just 6 years old, she appeared with her parents on 2020 in an interview with Barbara Walters, where she spoke openly about being a girl despite having been assigned male at birth. Her family noticed her strong sense of identity early on. Chaz has recalled wanting to wear traditionally feminine clothing and telling her parents that she was a girl. Her parents gradually learned how to support her and became important advocates for her well-being. With that support, Chaz was able to grow up more openly and eventually share her experiences with a much wider audience. She later became the subject of the TLC reality series I Am Chaz, which followed her family and documented many of the personal and social challenges she faced while growing up. Chaz also became involved in advocacy and public education, using her platform to encourage greater understanding and acceptance of transgender people. Her story has been especially significant because audiences watched her grow from a young child into a young adult in the public eye. For many viewers, Jennings represents the importance of family support, patience, and compassion. Her journey shows how a child who once struggled simply to have her identity understood could eventually become a widely recognized voice for transgender visibility. Carmen Carrera. Carmen Carrera first became widely known through the third season of RuPaul's Drag Race, where her glamorous style confidence and memorable performances helped her stand out among the cast. But after her time on the show, Carmen's life entered a deeply personal new chapter. In 2012, Carrera publicly came out as transgender and began living openly as a woman. Her transition took place in the public eye, which brought both attention and misunderstanding. Some viewers continued to associate her primarily with her earlier career as a drag performer, while Carmen wanted people to recognize her identity beyond the character she had portrayed on television. Rather than hiding from the conversation, Carmen used her growing visibility to speak about transgender representation and the importance of respectful language. One notable moment came when she criticized a controversial segment from RuPaul's Drag Race that used the term she-male. Carmen explained that language like this could be deeply hurtful to transgender people and encouraged greater sensitivity when discussing gender identity. Her transition also opened new opportunities in fashion and modeling. Carrera became one of the first openly transgender models to receive significant mainstream attention, appearing in major publications and working with well-known fashion brands. Carmen Carrera's story is ultimately about taking control of her own identity. She moved from being known primarily as a drag performer to becoming a transgender woman who openly discussed the challenges of living authentically in the public eye. Her journey helped bring greater visibility to transgender women while reminding audiences that respect begins with allowing people to define themselves on their own terms. Irvin. Irvin is a striking figure in the worlds of modeling and television, known for her extraordinary height and her work as a transgender woman. Standing around 6 feet 8 inches tall, she has often been described as one of the tallest professional female models in the world. Before living openly as Erica, she was known as William. Irvin began exploring modeling and entertainment while navigating her gender identity. She eventually shared her transition publicly, becoming an example of how someone can build a successful career while also embracing a deeply personal part of their life. Her television breakthrough came with American Horror Story Freak Show, where she played Amazon Eve, a strong and imposing character among the show's unusual cast. The role was especially memorable because Irvin's extraordinary height became part of her on-screen presence. Her appearance on the series also drew attention to transgender representation in mainstream entertainment. Rather than being defined solely by her transition, Irvin was able to build recognition through her talent, personality, and distinctive presence. Erica's height has certainly made her unforgettable, but her story is about more than being tall. She challenged expectations in an industry that has often favored conventional ideas of beauty and helped demonstrate that there is room for many different kinds of women in fashion and entertainment. From modeling to television, Irvin has used her unusual stature and personal journey to carve out a unique place in popular culture. Her story is ultimately a reminder that standing out can become a strength when you have the courage to make your differences part of your identity. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new videos. See you in the next one.